Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, and it's time for another edition of News 2 Gives Back. I'm News 2 meteorologist Marcus Bagwell, and News 2 Gives Back is brought to you by Trevecca Nazarene University in partnership with the Nashville Predators. We have dealt with a lot, especially from last Friday. You recall the significant and, dare to say, historic wind that we had here across the Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Gusts were just absolutely insane. We're talking gusts as high of reaching an EF1 tornado, even as high as a Category 1 hurricane. Just extremely, extremely high wind that we dealt with both during the thunderstorms, but really after the thunderstorms. And today we are up in Hendersonville in Sumner County, and we are wanting to highlight what the first responders have done here in Hendersonville from last Friday's storms. And I have Chief Scotty Bush here with me. Chief Bush, great to meet you. It's been great to talk with you as well. Tell us a little bit more about what you all have went through since the storms that came through on Friday.
So we're no different than anybody else when they suffered the storms last Friday. It was pretty traumatic events, lots of calls. Our dispatch center, emergency communications center, received over 1,100 calls in a 4-hour window, and it ranged anywhere from poles being damaged to people being trapped. So several different variants of call types, and the damage was widespread in the city of Hendersonville. And so since then, we just didn't stop on Friday. We lost power. We had to start rebooting stations with generators, things like that. And then Saturday and Sunday, when the weather broke, we were out doing actually damage assessments to help with our EMA representatives for Sumner County with finding out exactly how much damage had occurred, where it was at, and for paperwork purposes for the federal government.
Yeah, absolutely. And the wind that came through was certainly very significant. And part of the reason, too, that this wind can become very strong, especially where you all are, is exactly what you talked to me about earlier, is that you're surrounded by water. And so you're landlocked on your southern side. And when that wind moves over water like that, sometimes it can really intensify.
Yeah, it's kind of like the tornado of 2021 that we had up through here. It was kind of traveled the same path. And it is typically along the water's edge there. So it's really become a unique situation of how it travels and how the weather kind of gets in a constant path now and stays that direction.
Yeah. How did your first responders handle all this? I mean, the day started quiet, of course. We had the rain, the storms moved through, it ramped up, and then you start to get all of these calls, and your firefighters, the ones that are working hard on the streets, I mean, I'm sure they were dealing with things all the way through the end of their shift the next morning.
That's right. So we're very blessed with an excellent staff here, and they respond appropriately to any type of emergency that comes their way. And so they did. They had a long shift, and those happen from time to time, and they responded very well. I mean, they answered the calls. When we lost our communications, we opened up our emergency operations center at the police department. We had representatives from City Hall, the mayor, our chief operating officer, police, fire, public works. We were all in one central location to make sure that we were not doing redundancy with calls, that we were sending the appropriate resources to the appropriate areas at those particular moments. And we brought in food. We started feeding our staff because they didn't have a chance to eat. And obviously, with long-term situations like that to continue to go on, that's important and vital that they get restroom breaks, an opportunity to eat, to keep their energy levels up, to keep on responding to the calls.
Sure. What would you encourage your residents here of Hendersonville just to note and take away from what you dealt with on Friday as far as preparation? I know there's only so much you can do, and weather happens, things happen from time to time, but is there anything that you saw that maybe is a good reminder for them to remember before future storms move in?
Sure. We always like to encourage folks to have two ways of notification, whether it's your favorite news channel on your telephone or if it's code red or if you have a weather radio. We always want folks to be alert to situations like this when they happen. And then, of course, we suffered a lot of power outages. So generators would be something that folks should probably consider having so they don't lose food, they don't lose power. So if it would have been cold or super hot, we would have had to open up centers to house people. And so that was in our back pocket that if we needed to do that. And obviously the temperatures were they were a little bit cooler at night, but we didn't have to open up any warming centers or any cooling centers due to the time of the year. So obviously keep that in the back of your pocket. Keep some canned foods. to have. So your refrigerator, if you do lose power, you're going to lose the food there. And so just have an opportunity to continue to eat for 3 or 4 days, have water on hand, bottles, gallons of water, in order to be able to operate as a family.
Okay, awesome. Tell us a little bit more about your firefighting team and the stations that you all have set up here across the Hendersonville area.
Okay, so we're strategically placed. We have 6 zones right now that we're working out of. We're building a 7th one on the north side of town, which is where most of the growth has occurred within the last 2 to 3 years here. We're sitting at about 62,000 people within the city limits of Hendersonville, and that will be our 7th station. And as we color-coded map here, our zones are coded based on where the stations are located. And again, it's based off necessity of where the residents live. Response times are important. We're actually going through the accreditation process now with the Center for Public Safety Excellence. And that information is going to give us a lot of vital information to take back and make some changes within our organization.
Okay, awesome. That is great. So growing area, that's for sure. A lot of folks are wanting to come to Hendersonville. What are some of the great things about Hendersonville that makes it fun to be here?
I'd say the 26.2 miles of lake frontage is what draws a lot of folks here in the summer. Our lakes are jam-packed. Our park system and our school systems, I think, that are very, very attractive. We've got some turf baseball fields. We've got lots of soccer fields. I just think the community in whole, the police protection, the fire service, public works, parks, planning, codes, I think we all work really well together here to make this community an all-embracing community, and we just encourage folks that are looking for a good, wholesome place to move to give Hendersonville an opportunity.
Okay, awesome. One last question. Is there any big events that are upcoming in Hendersonville? I know we're getting close to springtime, so baseball season is about to ramp up with Little League and for the middle school, high school, and whatnot. But any other big events upcoming through spring or heading into summer?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, we'll have our typical Pig Fest that the Parks Department throws on in October, and that's a huge event. It's an all-weekend long event that we have here. Huge event. It draws a lot of folks, and this year is going to be better than last year. There's some talk about some other concert venue folks looking and bringing some concerts up here later this year. And so obviously we're planning for those and having those conversations about how to make sure those venues are safe and secure for the families to come and attend.
Sure. All right. That sounds great. Well, we're very thankful for you, Chief Bush. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you to your first responders. They were here earlier, but then they got out and had to go to a call, which is the #1 job. And so we're very appreciative for them for that. And also, as you mentioned earlier, it wasn't just you and your fire department staff. It was also the police, the EMS folks of Sumner County, also the whole city, though, all the city departments that were helping during this event on Friday. So we want to say thank you to them as well, and to all of our other crews that were also dealing with some of the magnitude of this pretty significant wind that occurred on Friday. This is News 2 Gives Back. This is brought to you by Trevecca Nazarene University in partnership with the Nashville Predators, and we're so excited to be able to provide lunch today to the Hendersonville Fire Department and Chief Scotty Bush's team here. Y'all have a great rest of your day.